Xavier University Television Studio, this is Xavier News. Your campus, your region, your world. This is Xavier News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is March 22nd. My name is Haley Lemire.
And my name is Owen Gorsuch. Welcome back to Xavier News.
Easter break starts next week, so be sure to enjoy that time off however you choose to spend it.
March Gladness came to a close this week here at Xavier. On behalf of the DIFT program, thank you for all your donations on this record-breaking year. DIFT reached the top 5 in number of donors and dollars raised. Thank you all for your support.
Xavier Theater is back at it again with yet another fan-favorite production, The Prom. 4 fading Broadway stars are in desperate need of a new stage when they hear the trouble is brewing around a small town. They know that it's time to put a spotlight on the issue and themselves. Emma Nolan wants to take her girlfriend to the prom, but the homophobic PTA are on a mission to keep the high school dance on the straight and narrow. Determined to transform lives and put themselves back in the spotlight, the Broadway celebrities muscle in to change the town and give Emma the prom she deserves. Come see this amazing production Friday at 7:30 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m. and 7:30 p.m., and then Sunday at 2 p.m.
Skyline is making the switch to Coca-Cola products. Starting on April 1st, Mountain Dew will be replaced with Mellow Yellow and Fanta, Barq's Root Beer, and Cherry Coke will be added to the lineup. Fortunately, Dr. Pepper and Diet Dr. Pepper will be staying. Many Skyline fans are disappointed, stating that the perfect pairing of Mountain Dew and Skyline has been ruined.
Donald Trump has yet to find an insurance company willing to underwrite his $464 million civil fraud bond. Failure to meet the March 25th deadline will lead to the state to seize his bank accounts and properties. Trump's attorney admitted that it would be impossible for them to complete this feat in less than a week. As the deadline approaches, Trump's team continues to petition the pause of Agron's judgment. If this doesn't happen, Trump stated that he would be forced to mortgage or sell great assets, perhaps at the fire sale prices, and if and when I win the appeal, they would be gone. Does that make sense? Witch hunt, election interference.
Last week, the bill banning TikTok in the U.S. was passed by the House of Representatives. The proposed bill would force a Beijing-based parent company, ByteDance, to sell their stake in the company within 6 months of its passing or risk the app being taken off of U.S. servers. It is unclear yet when the Senate will begin their discussions on passing the bill.
Now let's get a look at Cincinnati's jazz scene with Vinny Micucci.
My name is Miles Twitty, and I play jazz trumpet. As a young musician and educator in Cincinnati, I guess my hope for the next generation of musicians is that, of course, that they'll be successful, that goes without saying, but also that they'll see the value in education and help the generation after them. In my experience of the current jazz scene in Cincinnati, it seems like it's really strong. Like it seems like it's the strongest it's been since I've been on the scene. There's a lot more community. I feel like when I was coming up, there's a lot less outreach from musicians my age and older to younger musicians, which I feel like that is changing.
My name is Eric Leckleiter. I'm a professional trumpet and EWI player. I also am a big band arranger and band leader. Cincinnati historically actually goes a lot deeper than people realize jazz-wise. At the turn of the 19th into the 20th century, Cincinnati was one of the biggest upcoming towns in America, and so even really, really early on, jazz of course started in New Orleans, but really the connection from the Ohio River, which connects to the Mississippi River, meant that basically from the beginning, jazz musicians from the Deep South, from New Orleans, were coming to Cincinnati and showing people what was going on.
Hi everybody, my name is Brandon Coleman. I'm a guitarist here in Cincinnati, Ohio. So the state of jazz in Cincinnati in 2024 I find to be quite healthy. We have a lot of venues in which to perform and express our artistic endeavors, and I find that a really healthy difference from when I first moved here 10 years ago when the famed Blue Wisp Jazz Club was on its way out. It was seeming like there was less places to play at that point, but especially after the pandemic, things have really turned around, and there's a lot of great performance opportunities for artists to play their art here in town.
I would say that the state of jazz in Cincinnati is strong. There's a lot of really cool things happening in the city, more so than I think a lot of people realize. Because of a lot of reasons, there's like a lot more infrastructure and musicians in Cincinnati than one would expect. Like big reasons for that are the local universities, as well as a low cost of living here and a really, really healthy like working scene. So it's a really easy place to make a living as a musician. So you've got a lot of really, really great people here and some great places to play, and it makes it possible to make fun things happen.
Looking to see a new movie this weekend? Ghostbusters Frozen Empire hit theaters this week as the original Ghostbusters team up with their successors to save New York City from paranormal peril. Its star-studded cast includes Paul Rudd, Finn Wolfhard, and Bill Murray, reprising his classic role. Dune Part 2 continues to dominate the box office, grossing over $500 million as of March 20th. Other new releases include Arthur the King and Immaculate, and the animated cult favorite, End of Evangelion, made its debut run in North America.
With the end of March Gladness on campus comes the start of March Madness in the NCAA tournament. The several-week 63-game event has basketball fans across the country glued to their TVs and couches and computers. Although we are already on the second day of games, you can still turn on your TV and watch several games of the playoff basketball and hope your bracket stays intact. Madness has already erupted, as after just the very first day of games, less than 0.01% out of 22 million brackets remain perfect. We at the TV studio really hope your bracket's still perfect.
A second person has just been charged for their involvement in the theft of Dorothy's ruby slippers. 76-year-old Gary Hall Slitterman was charged for theft of a major artwork and witness tampering, which was his involvement in the theft of the iconic ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. While the shoes have finally been reunited with their owners after 20 years, lawmakers in Minnesota have proposed that the state buy the slippers in order to prevent incidents like this from happening again. Right now, the owner has stated that the slippers will be put on a world tour before being auctioned off by the end of the year.
Bizarre scenes took place at Indian Wells last week as a major tennis tournament was interrupted by a massive swarm of bees. Carlos Alcaraz and Alexander Zverev were competing in a quarterfinals matchup at the BNP Paribas Open when the unique incident occurred. As they began their match, dozens of bees attached themselves to the overhead spider camera and made their way onto the court, terrorizing the players. The match ended up being delayed for 2 whole hours as the bee vacuum cleared things up. The bee vacuumer became a fan favorite for the crowd, and when the players finally arrived back on the court, Carlos Alcaraz was able to comfortably win the match and advance, where he would eventually go on to win the title.
It's officially the first weekend of spring. While the weather may not quite yet be in our favor, there are plenty of fun events lined up for you to enjoy. Xavier Live is hosting another open mic event tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. in Gallagher's Arupe Overlook. Before stopping by the open mic, you can fuel up at Jay's Fish Taco Food Truck outside of Gallagher from 6 to 8 as well. Enjoy Saturday's sunshine by participating in Community Action Day and head to the Xavier Yard at 9 a.m. to complete service hours until 1 p.m. Community Action Day will conclude with lunch followed by reflection back on campus. Ace's Pickleball and Kitchen is hosting Xavier students from 1 to 3 p.m. for an afternoon of play and food on Sunday. For those who want to spend their Sunday afternoon indoors, the Italian Club is heading to the Cincinnati Museum Center to look at the Pompeii exhibition from 1:30 to 4 p.m. If you choose to go, you must register by today to get your ticket. For more information on these and all other Xavier events, head over to EngageXU.
That's all from the news desk.
We'll be right back with the latest in pop culture. But first, Drew Collins gives us a closer look at the men's soccer team.
The Xavier men's soccer program won their first Big East title in program history last season. I sat down with Dylan Kropp, a now sophomore who as a freshman led the team second in minutes and led many Big East honors as a true freshman. And he tells me why the future is bright here at Xavier.
So Dylan, the team was relatively young last year. You guys kind of flew under the radar and Big East champs, kind of take me through that process why you guys were confident and ultimately got the job done.
I think a big part of our program is to just focus on what we can control and know what other people think and just put our heads down and work every day. And at the end of the day, we put in more work than anybody, and we train harder and play harder than anybody. And I think ultimately that led to us.
Dylan, so why do you believe in this team and kind of just you guys in it? You know, writing off the success last year and heading into this year, what is keeping the unit motivated to do it again?
We felt like we left a lot on the table, and as a team we felt like we underachieved in the end.
So for fans around campus and back home, what can they expect from this program, not just this year, but in a few years moving forward?
I think the message we want to send in this conference is that, last year wasn't a fluke. We're here to stay. We're sick of being the underdogs, and we want to be a team that other teams mark on their calendar, saying that this is a big game, because it will be when we play them. And hopefully we can ride off what we did last season and push ourselves even farther in the tournament this year, and really make a name for this place.
And underdog may not be no longer, as I also sat down with freshman Nolan Bryce, who tells us why he expects more jewelry early in his career.
So as a freshman, what are your expectations for not just yourself, but the program here at Xavier over your next few years?
This is the first Big East championship actually with the program, and so with a new coach, and he's already won it in the second year, I feel like if we keep the same mentality, the same effort that we have, that they had last year winning, I think we could win many more.
My name is Maite Delgado.
My name is Rhea Franklin.
And this is this week's Pop Culture. Breaking news with Kate Middleton and the royal family. She came out with a full disclosed video about her cancer diagnosis. Particularly we've been seeing the whole speculation in social media about where the royal family has been. We saw the edited, very obviously picture that came out, and everyone's been wondering where Kate Middleton has been, and everyone's been wondering, of course, what happened with her abdominal surgery and what that has been through. But she finally came out with a full video disclosing what happened, that her cancer diagnosis, that she started going with chemotherapy. So very breaking heart for her, but best wishes for the entire royal family when they go through.
Yes, and it ends the speculation of where's Kate Middleton.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Next, we have, for our Marvel fans and Creed 3 fans, we have very unfortunate news. Jonathan Majors has been sued by his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari, on the account of abuse, battery, assault, and just emotional trauma that he caused her.
Wow, that's awful to hear about, and I wonder what's going to happen now moving forward with the movies.
Yes, like he plays a big role in the Marvel cinematic universe. Like he's the new leading villain, Kang the Conqueror. So it's up in the air whether Marvel will keep him or not.
Right? Will he continue? Will he still be? Especially how much he's playing a role now.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. Next in pop culture, we also have the Quiet on Set.
Yes.
Everyone's been talking about what's been going on. It's heartbreaking to hear.
Yes, the inappropriate behavior that Don Schneider put on these young Nickelodeon actresses and stars, it's really sad to hear.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that we could hear their stories from their point of view and what actually happens in the background.
Yeah, it's sad to hear, especially just since these are people that a lot of us grew up looking as very, very big part of our childhood, and it's sad to hear that that's what was going on in the background. But I'm glad, particularly for Drake Bell, he could share his story with Brian and what had happened, and that these victims can get a chance to talk about what happened to them and their stories.
Yes.
Yeah. Next, do you want to talk about Oscar outfits?
Yes. Let's start off with Zendaya. She was wearing this Giorgio Armani outfit. It was like rose gold, just very silk, very spark. It was just amazing.
Yeah, very, very. Just giving drama, giving very much class, and I loved it. I thought it was very cool. I feel like the duality of the dress was really pretty to see, and she was working as she always does.
Yes, her and her stylist are a duo.
For sure. Particularly, I feel like a lot of people have been doing sort of a duality costume change kind of with their outfits on all these red carpets. Particularly we saw Margot Robbie.
Yes.
She came in with her really fitted corset black dress, very sleek, very just Reputation era kind of thing.
I believe she was wearing a Versace too. It was just nice. Everybody showed up and showed out.
Yeah, for sure. Then she changed into her golden dress. I think particularly for the Oscars, it looks really, really pretty. She looked like an Oscar award. So I thought that was really cool and a lot contrasting to her previous Barbie looks.
Right.
But speaking of Barbie,
We have
Ryan
her counterpartner,
Yes.
Ryan Gosling. Yes. He came in with this black, sleek Gucci suit. I loved it. I thought the men of the Oscars also showed up and showed out.
Yeah. No, and then we had his costume change with I'm just
kidding.
Ken,
Oh,
the
I think
pink
that was my favorite
bedazzled.
part.
Yes, I agree. I think that was one of like the star focuses of the Oscars. It was really great to see, and the whole bedazzled pink suit, I think it worked beautifully, and I loved hearing it. I feel like everyone at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next we have Emma Stone. She had this like beautiful like fountain like kind of looking dress. Just it matched her skin. I thought it looked great on her.
Yeah, and then I thought she is so down to earth, and her acceptance of her award was really cute. And then the way that she literally turned around, she was like, my dress is broken, but so it was really cute to see, and she was so authentic, and she looked beautiful while at it.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Yeah. Next, we also have Ariana Grande. I loved her outfit.
Her dress was so different. I loved it. It was like very flowy, cloudy. You know what I mean?
She looked like she was on a cloud. I think it was very much a nod to Wicked and her character in it. I think she looked beautiful. I feel like I keep seeing all of her glam bots. She always does so good on her glam bots, and this one was no different, of course.
And then last but not least, we have Florence Pugh wearing this nice silver silky dress that just matched her figure and everything. And I think it like kind of represented her character in Dune, like very just sleek and just futuristic, if you can say.
Yeah, I would say, and I think it's very sculptural, and the like raised sleeves I think really added something that was different to the red carpet. But yeah.
Well, that's it for pop culture. Next we have the weather.
The A.B. Cohen Center. It's one of Xavier University's more unusual buildings, stranded atop a hill in the northeast corner of campus, surrounded on all sides by huge parking lots. It's somewhat of an outcast and contains a peculiar patchwork of departments. Cohen is home to the nursing department and the art department, as well as criminal justice and social work. On the exterior, the building is simply a gray cube with few windows, and on the inside, it is somewhat maze-like, with a reputation for getting students lost as they try to find their classes. But what interests me more than the classes in the building is its history. There are a couple of tales floating around campus about Cohen's past. A popular one is that it used to be a shoe factory that the university bought and repurposed. Another is that the building was originally a morgue, and I'd even been told that the building was originally designed so maze-like to prevent the bodies buried there from escaping. I was skeptical, but I wanted to know more.
I'm a very frequent visitor of the Cohen Center. As an art major, I'm up here for most of my classes. I also study up here, so I'm here almost every day of the week. Every room is different in Cohen. Every room has a different purpose. It's something you come to love. There used to be a shoe factory back in the 70s or 80s, and the rumor is it was also previously a morgue, so a lot of people think Cohen is haunted, but I do not know if that's true.
Next, I got in contact with the archivist at the library, Anne Reichbost, who provided me with a bunch of old photos and documents to sift through. And she suggested I talk with Father Tom Keneally, a Jesuit living on campus who had been at Xavier since 1969 and worked both as a professor of French and the university archivist. A clearer picture began to take shape.
Originally, the property on which Cohen now stands was the United States Shoe Company. It was run by the Cohen family, and it was an immense plant. It covered what is now the parking lot all around Cohen, the Cohen building itself, what is now the police station.
And in 1978, announced they would be donating the land and its buildings to Xavier University. The deal became final in 1982, but only after Xavier and USU lead a lawsuit filed against the deal by Madeline Murray O'Hare.
On October the 21st, 1982, the entire building caught fire. It was a huge fire. And then the university decided, since 3/4 of the facility really had been damaged seriously by the fire, to tear it down, to raise it.
The empty land was used for intramural fields and a running track, while two of the newer buildings were kept, one of which is now Cohen, named after the president of USU, Abraham Benjamin Cohen, One of the programs initially housed in the building was the Cincinnati School of Mortuary Science, which is likely the origin of the story about the morgue. Eventually, the school cut ties with Xavier and the intramural fields were paved over to give more parking for Cintas, leading us to the Cohen we know today. While the history may not have lived up to the vivid and imaginative tales that get passed around campus, the story of Cohen offers a unique lens into the history of Xavier and its relationship with the surrounding communities.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Xavier's Weekend Weather Report. My name is Quinn Healy. Today on Friday, we're going to have a high of 55 with a low of 30. It's going to be rainy, so better bring out your ponchos. Tomorrow we could look for a high of 49 and a low of 33 with a little bit of clouds in the sky, but still relatively sunny. And on Sunday, we could look forward to a high of 54 and a low of 26 with all sun. This has been your Xavier Weekend Weather Report. Now on to Drew with the sports.
Hello everybody, my name is Drew Collins and you're watching the Sports Report. In professional sports news, FC Cincinnati has a record of 2 wins, 2 draws, and no losses on the season so far. This places them in 3rd in the Eastern Conference. They host New York City FC tomorrow night, and the best sporting event in Cincinnati is finally approaching. The Cincinnati Reds opening day is this next Thursday, March 28th, so get ready. And now to Xavier Sports, the baseball team hosts VCU for a weekend series here at Hayden Field. And the men's tennis team has a busy week as well. They host both Villanova and Creighton, and then on Sunday they travel to South Bend to take on Notre Dame. And the women's tennis team faces the Cardinals down in Louisville, and they aren't the only ones facing Louisville. The men's soccer team takes them on in the College Spring Training League, and then the women's soccer team hosts Ashland Saturday at 6 p.m. And last but not least, the women's lacrosse team hosts Butler tomorrow at 11 a.m. Well, that is a wrap on the Sports Report this week. Go X!